we have learned the design and squirrel cage rotor and as well as problems. Now in this class we have to derive the expression for entering current and squirrel cage type of rotor as well as slip ring type of rotor. So yesterday I sent two diagrams, the distribution of current in rotor bars and the distribution of currents in end rings. Those are very important. I thought you all practiced that one very good. If not practiced today onwards, you have to practice. Basically in three-phase induction motor we have two types of rotors. Number one, squirrel cage type of rotor. Number two, wound rotor, that is slip ring type of rotor. Now in this diagram you can observe very clearly inside stator bore and stator windings, stator slots, stator outside diameter of core. So stator core is made up of thin laminations to reduce the eddy current loss, that is heating effect. Now we can observe the rotor. Rotor is a circular structure which is placed on shaft. So there are rotor bars, rotor conductors are arranged in skewed fashion to reduce the synchronous cusps or to overcome the vibration, noise and magnetic locking. These rotor bars are arranged in skewed fashion. You are observing the rotor lines, those are referred as rotor conductors. Usually rotor conductors are used of copper or aluminum. The rotor bars at both ends are capped by ring. This ring is referred as end ring. It completes the rotor circuit. That means rotor circuit is short circuited. Now in this diagram you can observe earlier explanation only. The rotor conductors are arranged in skewed fashion to overcome the synchronous cusps, cogging effect, that is magnetic locking between stator teeth and rotor teeth, and more noise produced. The skewing angle depends on the design considerations. The rotor bars are capped by end rings. These are made of copper if copper bars are used, or aluminum, no problem. These are made of conductor material. We have to see the design of this end ring current and rotor bar current. Because rotor induced current is very high, we have to use strips. Those are called as strips, rotor strips or rotor bars. Now in this diagram you can observe the rotor bars and end rings are shown for one pole pitch. That means rotor bars under one complete north pole and under one complete south pole. It is known as pole pitch. In angle wise it is 0 to 360 degree, or we can call one cycle later on. So you can observe the rotor bars are arranged vertical position. Horizontal is known as end rings, two end rings. It is a cross sectional view. You can see there 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 bars, rotor bars comes under north pole. Similarly 5 bars comes under south pole. You can clearly observe some of the bar currents are under north pole are rotating or moving in forward direction, that is upward direction. The rotor bar currents are moving downwards, which comes under south pole. It is clearly observed. Now you can see the rotor bar current is sinusoidal, that is as shown in figure B. Figure A represents rotor bar currents. That means under north pole some currents are moving upward. Under south pole bar currents are moving downward. You understand very clearly. So figure number C represents, that is circulation of currents in end rings. You can observe you can observe at 180 degree, the current moving one side upward, one side downward. It completes a loop. That is, first conductor of left, first conductor of right. Similarly, second conductor of left, second conductor of right. Second loop is completed. But in third loop, it is related to both nearest pole. Hence, it carries the current both side. Hence, you are getting the zero effect. You can observe in D. Entering current is zero respect to that. So you can practice this diagram, bar currents and entering currents. Figure number D, that is the showing of rotor bar current. It is similar to B and rotor current is maximum at where it is maximum in figure B. In similar fashion, at that condition, entering current is zero. Entering current is maximum when bar current is zero. That means the entering current lags the bar current by 90 degree. Once again, the entering current lags the bar current by 90 degree. You understand very thoroughly. If question comes, show the distribution of currents in rotor bars and end rings and derive the expression for end ring. It is usual question paper in this chapter. It may be for 8 marks, it may be for 10 marks. If it is 8 marks, then 4 marks is allotted for distribution, 4 marks for end ring. Hence, it is very important practice all of you. Similarly, with respect to diagram, if derivation is asked, you have to start from this light theory. So, consider a group of rotor bars under one pole pitch, what we have seen in the previous diagram. So, some bars are carrying the current in upward direction, that is under north pole. Some bars, rotor bars, are carrying the current in downward direction, that is under south pole, previous. One assumption we have to make, that is, if the maximum value of current in each bar is available, then entering current is also maximum value. With assuming this point, we can start the derivation. Maximum value of entering current, I maximum, is equal to bars per pole divided by 2 into current per bar. So, bars per pole, that is total rotor slots divided by number of poles, SR by P divided by 2. Current per bar, that is we assumed maximum current is there. So, IB maximum, develop the equation number 1. Hence, actually the rotor current in all bars is not maximum at the same time, but it varies as per sine law. Hence, maximum value of current in the end ring is the average current of all these bars, half bars under one pole. Maximum value of entering current, I max, equal to bars per pole divided by 2 into, we have to consider average value, IB average. Hence, you can replace IB average, that should be equal to 2 by pi into IB maximum. Develop the equation, then you substitute this value. Then you replace the IB maximum by IRMS. So, what is the IRMS? IRMS equal to IB by root 2. Hence, you replace IB maximum by root 2 into RMS value of bar current, root 2 times of IB. Finally, I am going to get root 2 times SR IB pi P. So, the entering current also varies sinusoidally. Hence, RMS value of entering current equal to I maximum divided by root 2. you develop the equation 2. You substitute the value, that is RMS value of end ring current equal to IE maximum divided by root 2. You substitute the value, finally I am going to get IE equal to SR into IB divided by pi P. Once you are knowing the end ring current, by assuming current density 42 amperes per millimeter square, then it is possible to determine cross sectional area of end ring. Once the cross sectional area of end ring is calculated, so its value is also equal to depth of end ring and thickness of end ring, dE into TE. You can observe in the next diagram. You can observe TE is the thickness of end ring, dE is the depth of end ring. Okay, inner diameter is dE. Next, we want to go for theoretical part. Already problems we have solved. Design of slip ring type of rotor. You can observe here 3 slip rings are mounted on the shaft. These 3 slip rings are insulated from each other. Then skewed rotor are placed on the rotor course. Skewed arrangement already we observed to overcome the magnetic locking between stator and rotor teeth and noise problems. So again this type of rotor also consists 3 windings. The 3 windings are star connected at one point. The other ends of the star connected windings are connected to 3 slip rings. Through the slip rings, external circuit resistance is also added because this type of rotor is characterized by low resistance. We can't start the motor without external resistance. Therefore, external resistance is added in series to the rotor circuit via slip rings. Design of wound rotor, or that is slip ring type of rotor. The rotor windings. For small motors we are using much type of windings are employed in the rotor circuit. For larger motors, a double layer bar type of winding is used. So in motors output more than 70-50 kilowatt, we have to use the number of bars per slot to reduce the current handled by the slip rings. So this type of winding is usually referred as barrel winding. So we have to design number of rotor turns. It is very much similar to primary and secondary of transformer. Here the primary is stator, secondary is rotor. So that is in transformer E2 by E1 equal to N2 by N1. In same fashion, rotor EMF ER to the stator EMF ES equal to ratio of rotor turns divided by stator turns. ER by ES equal to TR by TS. Into winding factors, rotor winding factor KWR, stator winding factor KWS. Later on, assuming these two are same, hence we are getting the expression similar to that of transformer. So ER by ES equal to TR by TS. Remember, another important factor, the rotor ampere turns is assumed as 85% of stator ampere turns. Therefore, what is the rotor ampere turn? Product of rotor current, product of rotor turns. What is the stator ampere turn? Product of stator current, product of rotor stator turns. So IR into TR equal to 0.85 times IS into TS. Develop the equation number 3. Hence, it is possible to determine rotor current. Rotor current equal to 0.85 times IS TS divided by TR. Hence, it is very easy to determine cross sectional of rotor conductor AR equal to IR by current density of rotor. Then number of rotor slots, it is almost similar to that of selection of rotor slots in squirrel cage induction motor. You have to follow that. Next is the rotor teeth. The width of rotor slot should be designed in such a manner the flux density in the rotor teeth does not exceed about 1.7 Webers per meter square. The flux density in the rotor teeth occurs at its root is maximum because at this place the width of teeth is minimum, hence minimum area, it gives maximum flux density. Let WTR be the width of rotor teeth, WSR be the rotor slot width, minimum teeth area per pole, flux per pole divided by maximum flux density. It develops the equation 1. The total teeth area per pole, that should be equal to number of rotor slots per pole, net iron length, width of teeth. It gives equation 2. The minimum width of rotor teeth can be obtained by equating equation 1 and 2. Finally, the equation becomes phi m divided by 1.7 divided by SR divided by P into Li. A check has to be made so that actual minimum width of rotor teeth should not exceed the WTR minimum, which may be calculated by using above expression. But actual minimum width of rotor teeth should be equal to rotor slot pitch at root minus rotor slot width. So we have to consider the diameter where you want to consider throughout the depth of rotor teeth. Now it is required at teeth. At their point you have to consider diameter. So generally slot pitch equal to pi d by s. Already we are knowing slot pitch equal to pi d by s. Here we are taking rotor, therefore rotor slots. Then diameter, this dr minus 2 dsr is respect to at teeth portion. Okay, understand, where dsr equal to depth of rotor slots. Next, design of rotor core. We are assuming the flux density in the core should be 50% of the core. Hence, depth of rotor core equal to phi m by 2 into BCR into Li. Li is net iron length, effective iron length, BCR flux density in rotor core. Then lastly you can see the slip rings and brushes. In wound type of rotor consist 3 slip rings which are mounted on the shaft, which are insulated from each other. The rings are made of either bars or phosphor bronze. The area of cross section of slip rings are decided from the knowledge of rotor current and assuming current density of 4 to 7 amperes per millimeter square. Usually the cross section of slip rings will be rectangle. The length and breadth of rectangle are decided by mechanical constraints. Thank you to one and all. Give the importance to end ring. Thank you, sir.